I'm Victoria Grant, Timiagma Anishinaabekwe, which means deep water woman, woman of the deep water people. I'm playing 3 different roles in my life right now. So I'm sort of overseeing the IPRF. I'm working in my band in my home community as the interim ED, reporting to a chief and council, so a political board. And I chair the Canadian Canoe Museum board. I sit on the board of a family foundation. And every one of those instances is incredibly different. So I don't think there is any one way of having board governance. You know, I started off with a very traditional board with 24 board members. It was very much, you came in and everybody said aye, and really there wasn't a lot of conversation, although it was always interesting because after the board meeting, there was always lots of conversation. So you learn more after the board meeting than you did during the board meeting. And then I would say there's the board meeting where the board tends to think they are the boss, that they are the people who should be, they see themselves having, I want to put quotation marks, power. And then there's the board that you have people who want that on their resume, that I am a board member of such and such organization, but are not, they come into the board meeting, they don't read any of the documentation, they're not aware of what's going on, but they want to be a board member. And so I see those boards where they are just come in and, have a 45-minute board meeting, get out of here. There are your boards that are a governance model with policy. And there are the boards that are a generative board. Having time for a generative conversation at board meetings, I think is really important because it really ties you to the work. I think the board who was a policy board, but it really stays in that field, is not, I don't think it's as interesting, and therefore your board is not as engaged as they should be. I also see that, some people want to meet so often, other boards don't want to meet as often. I think having board meetings on every 2 or 3 month basis is important, even if it's just a small time. But so you would have as I look at what we're doing with the IPRF, and again, we met our board for the first time ever in Ottawa in person, and it was like we all knew each other. But I think it's the commitment and the kind of work we're doing that brings us together. And so when we got together, it was like you were meeting an old friend that you had never met in person. And so it's that connectedness. And I think that comes from a generative conversation. I think those are the kinds of things that come from a generative conversation. And also the idea of consensus, reaching consensus, so that if somebody really feels strongly that they don't think you should move ahead with something, one person can stop that because you don't have consensus. And I really like that, but as some people would say, the downside of that is it takes a long time, but it probably should take a long time if there's disagreement and you're all have a common goal.